pretty much the moment go, I was really magnetized towards Tom and just his energy and charisma. And most importantly, how quickly I would see him transform a scene or a monologue in like 20 minutes, half an hour, to being like, okay, yeah, that was solid, to now this is outstanding. Welcome to Inside the Audition, the podcast where we go behind the scenes for a deep dive look into the world of auditions. I'm Joe Lars Larson, creator of Actors Audition Club, an international community helping actors book your dream roles in TV, film, and theater.
And I'm Brandon Knox, actor, producer, and co-host. Each episode, we chat with actors and industry professionals to share their audition experiences, insights, and advice.
We provide actors with actionable tips, strategies, and resources to help you elevate your auditions.
We demystify the often intimidating and misunderstood world of auditions to help you succeed.
So whether you're just starting out on your acting journey or you're a seasoned pro, join our Actors Audition Club members as we go
Inside the Audition.
Hey, we're here again, inside the audition.
Yay.
Inside the audition, right inside it. Oh. Episode 140. I'm Lars, that's BK, back at the home base, the BK home base, the BK HQ up in Danforth in Toronto. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. How about you?
You still hanging the Leafs jersey up there? You're loyal. You're loyal.
I'm not leaving.
I think you just forgot to take it down.
Yes. No, I specifically put it up. I was actually wearing this today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Good. The other day at the studio, I put a Maple Leafs hat on, and Brandon said, I think you should put a Blue Jays hat on. It's quite sad. Welcome, everyone, on Facebook, YouTube. Make sure to share this episode out today. We got a special episode. This episode is going to be dedicated to one of our incredible acting coaches, mentors, Tom Todoroff, because it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Tom.
Yay!
For those of you who do know, you know that Brandon and I are both members, longtime members of his Saturday workshop. I attended the summer intensive in 2021.
Yeah,
it must have been 2021. And then I joined the conservatory that following fall, which was fall 21 to spring 2022. And today's his birthday, so we wanted to celebrate him. We're going to share lots of quotable quotes, favorite stories, favorite memories, favorite lessons. We might even have a few surprise guests from some of his classes in conservatory. We're not 100% sure on that, but we put out a last-minute invite for people to pop on. So you might hear from some familiar faces, but we're going to roll a little clip to get it started, a little promo teaser clip of Tom and the Tom Todoroff studio in New York City. So please enjoy this. If this is your first introduction to Tom, you're welcome.
In my life, I've been fortunate to work in film, television, theater, music, and sports. I've been a producer, director, or coach to some of the most visible names in the world, some of the most accomplished business leaders, entrepreneurs, and impassioned hobbyists from all walks of life. I'm a curious and avid student of human nature, and this work has given me a front row seat to some of the most extraordinary human beings and the choices they continually make. What makes for the most successful professionals in any field doesn't have to do with innate talent, but rather the drive to clearly and consistently ask and fight for what they want and say no to what they don't want. And they always do their best. The most direct route to success and self-love is to make a series of commitments and keep them no matter what. Demonstrate craft and commitment in a way that exceeds all of your competitors. That's what we're talking about here today. Write down this equation. Craft plus commitment equal confidence and career. What inspires personal communication? Passion. Love of what you're doing. Because if you truly love someone or something, you'll spend all the time in the world on that person or that pursuit. Love takes time and love makes time. So if you want to know what or who you really love in this life, just look at where you put your time. Remember, you're always transmitting and receiving. When you're truly passionately prepared, you're transmitting love. When you're not, you're transmitting fear. Humor is essential to getting your message across. Why? Ever heard of someone ending a relationship because their partner was too funny? Humor gives us respite from overthinking, and geopolitically it's never been more important. It's impossible to laugh at something and think of your troubles at the same time. Laughter brings us to the now. Careers are built on clear, caring, passionate communication, and communication is storytelling. The minute you commit to a goal, whether personal or professional, negative forces align to test it and throw you off that goal. But positive forces align to support and help you. The important thing is not to take life personally. Life and gravity happen to all of us. It's all just a test of how committed you truly are. This is the art of showing up. This was always true, but in today's world, this work is more important than ever before, because technology is training our brains to move faster than we're feeling. Well, these are some of the elements of the physics of performance. When you learn how to employ these elements and bring these skills to every audition, rehearsal, and performance, your relationships will change, and so will your career. Until the next time, remember your ability to ask and fight for what you want and say no to what you don't want will determine your personal and professional success now.
Thank you. I love that video. I should just,
Yeah,
I
me
feel like
too.
I want to watch that. I should just queue it up every morning. It fires me up. A lot of key lessons are woven through that and so many quotes. Yeah, we're going to flash up a link too. For those of you, if you are new to Tom and the Todoroff studio, we're going to flash a link up. It's laughingvikings.com/Tom. If you go to that link, you'll get access to one of their workshops. I believe they offer them on Saturdays and Mondays now. An international workshop, connect online via Zoom, a scene study, monologue study, audition pieces, cold reads, Before the class with Tom, there's also a voice and speech teacher who does an amazing voice and speech workout with you. And also usually about a half an hour of text analysis, teaching from the framework that Tom uses, the Todoroff technique, which is largely adapted. Some of you may be familiar with the Audition. I think this is, I would call it the Bible or the Quran or the insert other religious important book here of acting. Michael Shurtleff, a renowned director and casting director, and Tom worked with him for many, many years before Michael died. And then he's taken some of his frameworks and built upon them and expanded on them to build the Todoroff technique. So we wanted to just share Tom with you today. He's had a huge impact on both of our lives and careers. And that's the thing I love about his coaching is it's not just applicable to your acting life on stage and in between action and cut. It's things that transcends your acting life and really affects the rest of your life. And I think the reason for that is one of the things he talks about is to be an actor is to be a professional human being. So I really found learning and coaching from him that he teach me how to be a professional actor, but how he did that is by teaching us how to be professional humans. So yeah, we're going to share a bunch of stuff here. Where do you want to start, Brandon?
Let's start with some quotes.
Yeah. Let's do that. Well, maybe first quick, I think we did this on another episode, but we can share how we stumbled across Tom. My agent, Bella Grundy, knew of Tom and often suggests workshops and opportunities for actors to learn and grow. She's really big on her actors continuing to train and continuing to be in class. This was way back, I think it was 2014, 2015, up at the Palmerston Library in Toronto. I did a weekend intensive with him. Actually, I just audited for two reasons. I was a little afraid of. I hadn't done an in-person acting workshop before. I'd done a lot of stand-up and sketch comedy and improv, but I felt intimidating because I was like, "Oh, acting! Like this is going to be proper and conservatory and Shakespearean," and I felt really in over my head. So I didn't enroll. Also, I had some money issues and some scarcity back then. So I was like, I don't have the $300 or whatever it was to do the weekend. So I audited for like $25 or $50. And when you audited a class, you basically sit in the gallery. I took ravenous notes. I think I filled like 8 pages of notes. And from like pretty much the moment go, I was really magnetized towards Tom and just his energy and charisma. And most importantly, how quickly I would see him transform a scene or a monologue in like 20 minutes, half an hour, to being like, okay, yeah, that was solid, to now this is outstanding. And it's how he works with actors, his language, the framework, his directorial abilities was just brilliant. So that was my first experience. I think I audited another one a couple years later. And then I finally built up the courage to fully jump in the pool and enrolled in a weekend intensive. And then I was enrolled in another one right before COVID. Then COVID happened. And then during COVID, they did a brilliant thing. They did their COVID pivot, turning their in-person workshops. He was traveling all around the world doing these weekend intensives. And they couldn't do that anymore. So they started doing this Saturday workshop where they had actors tune in from all over the globe. And for that first year of COVID, that was a huge community and just a huge thing to look forward to on a Saturday when there really wasn't a lot to look forward to. So it was a huge gratitude to Tom and Emily and the community during that period. And then after doing a year of Saturday workshops, they were promoting their summer week intensive, a week-long intensive where you get to work with their conservatory instructors in New York City. I'm originally from New York City. My brother works there, or my brother lives there. Did I say I'm originally from New York City?
Yeah, you did.
I'm not originally from New York City. My brother lives in New York City. My mom is from New York City, is what I meant to say. Interesting. That was an interesting Freudian slip. I guess part of me is originally, like at least half the X chromosomes of me is originally from New York City. So technically, yeah, I'm also from New York City. So I went down for that week intensive. It was an incredible experience, a lot of deep work with Tom and all of his instructors. You get introduced to a lot of conservatory instructors. And like a week after that, I was like, I'm going to go deeper. I've jumped in the pool, but I'm going to swim out of the shallow end to the deep end. And I enrolled in the conservatory, Ensemble 10. And that was really one of the most impactful, transformational, life-changing experiences of my life. It's the deepest I've ever gone with any kind of training, certainly in the acting and performance world. And it was just a beautiful experience. I've met people, instructors and actors who I already know I'm going to be lifelong friends with. Some of you already know them through the podcast, and you're going to meet a few more today. So that's my origin story, and that's my connection. And then, Brandon, you want to share how you were first introduced and your involvement?
Yeah. So I was first introduced to Tom by Lars, who offered a free audit of his Zoom classes during COVID. And I was very skeptical going in. I wasn't expecting much, but, I walked in, or I signed into the Zoom room, and it took maybe about 5 minutes, and I knew I needed to be in that class. Emily started speaking and started talking and dissecting about the Todoroff technique and about the guideposts and the vocal variation and the viewpoints, and it was something that I knew that I needed at that point in time. It was very much in the heart of lockdown here in Toronto, and I knew I needed to train. And I was very skeptical about Zoom training for actors online. And as soon as we started, I knew I needed to be there, and I knew I would get a crap ton better as soon as I started working with Tom. And it has completely changed my life. Knowing the guideposts, knowing the vocal variation, knowing the viewpoints, understanding the tenets and the techniques is vitally important to what I do now. And it has completely changed my view as a performer and as a director and as a coach, because I'm able to help people so much more in so many different ways and in so many different scenes that I wasn't able to before. And it's been huge. One of the big things, even from watching the promo video, is love versus fear. I had a lot of fear going into this business, going into this career, and there was a lot of self-doubt. And I think I talked in my very first podcast episode about how I would never do music theater again. And now I'm doing pantomimes and I'm doing children's shows, and I am back in music theater, very much so. And that's
loving it.
And that's a lot to do with Tom, who helps instill this confidence and helps instill these foundations that you can, even if you don't get it right away, you will get it down the line if you work hard enough. If you work smart enough, you will be able to get there. It takes a little bit more from you. And it's so incredibly important. And I absolutely love working with this company. I edit videos for this company because I absolutely love it, because he's such a brilliant speaker. I take notes while doing editing because it's just so important. I think I've written down, acting is believing about 100 different times. And it's still something I forget about.
Right. Yeah, that is one of the things that's brilliant about working with him. Is he has put together a framework. Before I started training with him, you have instincts, and I had taken individual classes and some workshops, piecemeal training here and there, and you learn on set and you learn different places. I hadn't gone to theater school, I hadn't gone to film school, so I'd never done anything foundational. And what Tom has provided is an actual framework where you can see it all, and you, like, literally on paper, like, this is what the job of an actor is. This is what a performance is. These are all the, he uses the term guideposts and tenets. And when you're a member of the studio, you'll see all this in depth. We're not going to go in depth in all that, but it's a consistent framework that you can lay over, like a checklist that you can lay over any scene, any performance, any monologue, any audition piece, something that you've written, It works for music. It works for musical theater. It works for public speaking, where really like a professional checklist that you can just go through and you realize, okay, I don't think I have this in this performance. I need to dial that up. And we often talk about it as like each guidepost being a dial that you can turn up, or sliders on one of those giant mixing boards where you slide up the bass and you slide up the treble and the echo and whatever the other things are. But it really is a framework that, previous to working with Tom, I had instincts. I felt I had, from doing stand-up and sketch, I felt I had some charisma and some stage presence. I was certainly fairly bold and fearless, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I couldn't really define it. When it was comedy, the comedy stuff was always easy. You know, we learned from Tom, everything is everything. Comedy is drama, drama is comedy, and life has both. On the worst day of your life, you're probably laughing, and on the best day of your life, you might also be crying. So it is everything. But for me, coming from stand-up background, sketch comedy background, I knew, like, to me, comedy is objective. If it's not really, because it's different to different audiences, but the audience in front of you laughs, then you know that was funny. Win. So I would do auditions or help people with auditions, and if I laughed or thought it was funny or they thought it was funny, that was like, yeah, that's funny. That's good. It's supposed to be funny, so we're winning. With stuff that was not considered that realm, it was very difficult. I was like, this doesn't feel like we got it. I'm not sure. I don't know what's missing. Like, I didn't know how to help people. And then after training with Tom, having that framework, I can just, even if initially I'm like, I don't think that's there and I don't really know what this is, but we're going to figure it out together. I turn literally in the studio to the guidepost, look at them, they jog my memory, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, we need this, and this, and usually focusing on relationship and conflict. But the other brilliant thing, and you touched on it as well, Brandon, is the studio, and the ethos of the studio is very, it's rooted in fun. It's rooted in play. It's rooted in love. It's rooted in making big, bold moves and being fearless. And he mentioned it in that video of ask for and fight for what you want in your life, and say no to the things that you don't want in your life. So he's very big on driving forward to what you want. So we're going to share some, why don't you share, or we shared enough? Have we shared enough of our quotes? You want to share some from your...
Let's bring on one of our guests, right?
Yeah. We got guests. So very last minute, we put out a shout out in some of my conservatory threads on Facebook and WhatsApp. And we asked people to just pop on, celebrate Tom, maybe share a quote, share a story, a lesson, talk a little bit about their experience. Blow out a birthday cake. What do you want to do? So here is, all the way from Mexico, this is Kevin Figueroa.
Hello, pleasure being here. Lovely to see y'all.
Yeah, man. Pumped to see you. Yes.
Yeah. Do I look different now? Do I look older?
You look taller, but I think you'll be over the camera, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very last minute. I have some family things to tend to, but I'm very honored to be here celebrating Tom.
Amazing.
With y'all in your company. I truly remember that love takes time, love makes time. It's something that I tell myself every time. You want to find out what you love, look at where you spend your time. Mm-hmm. Charming is disarming. It's been basically one of like my commandments, you know. It's something I live by. You can catch you can catch flies with honey, but you catch more honeys being fly, essentially. So yeah, and
you got your own spin on it. Maybe there's a little.
I mean, that's the Kevin Figueroa Mexican spin on it. I did not make it up either. And that's how my brain made sense of it, you know.
Exactly. No other saying should be said ever.
Yeah, Tom basically taught me to approach the way that I made sense with it, to approach auditioning like a date, you know, the same tempos, the same type of vibe. If you look like you need the person, it's like, hey, goddamn, come down. So you have to be like willing to know each other. And in terms of of acting, you know, it's easy to go like, oh, it's a job and I need it and I need the reputation or I need the environment or I need the blah 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 blah. But you're giving out that vibe of like needing and needing and needing, and people will catch on to that. So just go there, do your job, and accept that the project has its specific whatever that it may or may not change for your vibe, and just do your best, and that's it, you know. Shake hands. We all are here doing our best job, so let's be that the thing that shines.
Right. Yeah. Love that. How did you come across Tom? I know let people know where you're from. What city are you in Mexico?
I am from Mexico, northwestern side of Mexico, and I signed up for backstage.com, and I started getting a lot of notifications for, you know, workshop this and free class here and stuff like that. And to this day, the Tom Todoroff Saturday class was my first acting class, and everything that I've learned in the Todoroff techniques and stuff has been my first and only exposition to acting classes directly, because I've heard some sessions by Stedla Adler and all of those legendary teachers, but it popped up like the free trial on a Saturday on Backstage, and I joined in. I remember I didn't even have a laptop, so it was in my cell phone in my dad's apartment. And I instantly, like Brian said, I'm going to romanticize it a bit more. I said I fell in love with the vibe because there's this one thing that I've always told myself, that is familiarity along the way is like a sign that tells you that you are on the right path. So when I felt the similarly thinking vibes from, I'm very Gen Z in my vocabulary, I address that. But when I felt that familiarity in the sense of approaching things and the views in art, and, you know, how it's better to smile through it all, and everything is everything all the time kind of thing, you know, all of those things truly spoke to me. And it was through that familiarity that I actually dared to request to perform work for the Saturday workshop, you know, to do a monologue. And it was my first time doing something like that, especially in this language, you know. So it was like I broke like 15 fears just based off of the immense trust I already had with Tom.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Congrats, man. I'm really happy. Like, I know that all of us in the conservatory have great connections. It's so great to see you. I know we often had some fun conversations outside of class too, and seeing you grow and develop. And you're like, to all of us, you're this weird old soul that you're way wiser than your age. You're young in your 20s, but you talk like someone who's 900 years old. So you're
I've been getting that a lot. Yeah,
Juan or Don Javier, or whoever your shamans are, they're doing a good job.
Yeah, there are plenty. I always say that I'm something that was born way before this skin and bones.
Yeah, it shows. It shows too. What's your favorite guidepost?
Mischief.
Nice.
Number 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live by it. That was one of the first things that made me want to go to the conservatory, like actively convince my parents. Because it was like, it's literally mischief, and it's number 13. If y'all don't know, 13 is what I believe to be my number.
Me too. I was Friday the 13th. That's my number 2. So mischief is a big one for me.
I'm also born on the 13th.
Yeah.
What's yours?
My favorite, I believe, is opposites. Opposites, and because I feel like that it's deeper to me than some of the others, and it's the way of the universe too. The yin and yang, and masculine, feminine, and night and day, and dark and light. I think it applies to everything, and I think also opposites. You can layer opposites on almost all of the other guideposts. In Shirtlift's book, and Tom mentioned this. Maybe I'm just saying it because Shirtlift said this, but he said he thinks 5 is his favorite or most important. I think they're all super important, but there's something special about the opposites to me. And I think it's the relationship to how the universe works. Like we can all be the brightest stars, and then we can all be like the blackest souls as well. We can do amazing things, and we can be fucking horrible monsters as well too. So I think that one really resonates with me. Brandon, what about you?
Game playing, role playing, number 11.
Nice.
I love being able to find it. I love being able to use it. Right. It's one of my favorites.
Right. And a lot of people, it's funny, that's one that a lot of people think that they'll use that phrase, is that too much, or is that too, but that's real life. When people, so game playing and role playing, one of the parts of it is anytime, a simple example is when someone's talking about what someone else said. Usually when we're saying that, we'll adopt some of their traits or physicality or their voice or something like that. Like a husband would be like, oh yeah, my wife said, take out the garbage again, or whatever, like a naggy voice, or just who knows. And you just laughed at that, right? And that's because and that also, game playing, role playing also ties into mischief, ties into humor as well. But that's a great one, and such a simple one to be, well, how would they say it? I ask in auditions all the time when people say something that someone else has told them, or they're describing how someone is, and they just using the same voice. And I'm like, well, how'd they sound? And instantly that little shift like lights that part of the script up instantly. Like it's one of the easiest and most fun things that you can do. Yeah. Good answer, Brandon. Good answer. All right, we've got some more. Are you able to stick around for a little bit, Kevin, or you got to bounce? Or
I'm going to see if I have to bounce right now, or if it's going to be a little bit later. But yeah, definitely staying tuned.
Okay. Well, because we can.
So,
what are you going to do? You do it. Yeah. You're going to swap them out?
Yeah, we'll swap you out. We'll put you in the green room right now, and then we'll bring out someone else right now. And then if you come back, we'll bring you back on.
Amazing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good seeing you. Love you, buddy.
Thanks, Kevin.
Good seeing y'all. Love you too.
Stick around if you can. Yeah. Or just stay in the back in the backstage area, and we'll bring you on if we can.
All right.
Up next, all the way from the Bay Area in California, San Fran, Deanna Shinsky.
Woo!
Right.
Wait. There we go.
Wow, I really feel like I'm on a talk show right now.
You are, yes.
You are.
Broadcasting live around the globe. Thank you for hopping on so short notice here. I woke up and saw a notification that it was his birthday and was like, this is a good thing to do for his birthday. So
yeah, I love this idea.
Yeah, and it also gives us an excuse to have a little bit of a Todoroff reunion.
Yes.
It gives Brandon and I a week off from having to figure out what we're going to talk about on a podcast.
Perfect.
So I would like you to share share whatever you want. You want to share quotable quotes? I would love to hear how you originally came to be in touch with the Todoroff Conservatory and how all that unfolded. So you take it where you want to.
Well, I was very frustrated with the acting classes that I had been taking because I felt like I wasn't consistent. I didn't have like clear technique. I was kind of like, sometimes I'd feel great doing what I was doing. And I was like, wow, that was really cool. But I couldn't repeat it. I didn't really have like solid guideposts to follow or just like technique. I wasn't properly trained. I don't know how I found the Saturday class, but the universe sent it my way. And that's how I first got introduced to Tom, through the Saturday class, which is like a weekly workshop where they do vocal training and then also scene studies. And that's where I learned about the Tom Todoroff technique. And then from there, I heard about the conservatory. And I was very hesitant to commit to that because I think like imposter syndrome a little bit. Yeah, but I'm so grateful I did. And I think, so many things stick with me throughout my life that I've learned through his technique. But the main one is know your nervous system. I think that's so important for us humans living in bodies. And it's very fruitful. Yeah, It's just very important. And then some quotes. If it's not fun, I'm done. And then favorite guideposts are probably 4 and 8, because I have a tendency to run away from importance, like making something the greatest fight.
Right.
So
Yeah.
guidepost 8.
Number 8 is importance, which is like the stellar Adler quote, no play or movie film ever happens on a normal day. Like
Right.
it's always the most important of circumstances.
Yeah. And then humor, because, if you're not having fun yourself, why are you doing it? It ties really nicely to importance, because if we really value our time, every second we're given to experience life, then we should have fun,
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. I'm so grateful for everything that I've learned through his technique, because it really does apply to life.
Yeah.
He has a really good quote about that, but I'm going to get it wrong. But it's like, be a good human and your acting will be great, or something like that.
Yeah. And there's the other one we often quote is to be an actor is to be a professional human being.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about beekeeping and honey. Kevin
nailed it.
Yeah, that we'll never really know. But
Kevin needs a quote card with that on it, where he just takes all regular quotes and gives them the old Figueroa twist. Yeah.
Yes.
What was the other thing? Yeah, humor, obviously. I mean, that's what's great, the whole thing. And you see that in him and how he teaches as well. It's like those classes are always so fun. They're so motivating. You feel uplifted at the end of it. You feel like you're at a super fun party with some of your best friends. It can be intense depending on the material, but then you shake that off and you're back to having fun as a performer. It's not like some deep, dark therapy session where people are like coming out of it injured human beings. It's to build people up, which is what it should be. And sometimes you hear about classes where just people get broken down. And you also mentioned sometimes things would work, sometimes things wouldn't. Brandon's mentioned that too, where a lot of times you'll be with a coach and maybe different things are contradictory. And it's like, well, you say yesterday you said this and that, and now you say this. And it often seems muddy and kind of foggy and just kind of like out there. Whereas having a framework and a language, the thing that I love, anytime I work with anyone who study with them, I can help them way more because I just speak the language. And like I'll say, oh, make that a discovery. Or that's on that line, let's do a little gameplay role play. And instantly you know what I'm talking about. So it's also developed a language, a directorial language. Studying with him has made me like 1,000 times better behind the camera directing someone, because I know what to look for and the words to use it that they can then act upon. And
totally. It's very empowering, like to know that language. Like you said, it doesn't break you down. It's very, he really gives you the freedom to make choice. And that happens because we're given such clear structure. Like it's very well communicated. And so we can then use it. Like we have agency with his technique, which is so cool, to express ourselves as creatively as possible.
And this episode, we wanted to share some notes and quotes and share stories. So this is great. I've got my one of my conservatory binders here. This is November 29th and 30th, 2021. And you mentioned choices. And one of the things he talks about is your talent is in your choice making. Ask questions about the script and the scene or the monologue, and then you answer them with your choices. And then your performance ends up being those choices. So yeah, and Kevin mentioned it too, like an audition is like a first date. So rather than think about making the right or the wrong choices, one of our improv teachers, Philip, would say there's no right or wrong, there's only weak or strong. So rather than worry about making the right or wrong choices, what are they looking for? What do they want? What's the right choice? How do they want this? It's just show them all the choices that you can make, show them the possibilities, show all the strong options that you can bring to the table, so that you're like, here are all the colors of the rainbow, or all the notes of the scales, or all the notes on a piano that I can play. If you want that, I can do those. And you just leave it at that, rather than thinking like, oh, what's the right one best way only that I need to do this, which is usually very constrictive and contracting rather than being expansive and rather than being playful. A lot of times people go into audition rooms and it's out of fear of making a wrong choice rather than out of love of the game and love of performance and a love to express yourself and share and all that stuff. So yeah, I love it. Do you have any more quotable quotes, lessons, experiences?
Yeah, I do. I always, like, my quick go-to is heart, head, although it should be head, heart, hips. Making sure I have all three in any piece that I'm working on. And I think it's really interesting to look at it in that way because you can see like where you naturally kind of like lean to which one you kind of lean to more. So making sure you're bringing in like colors, you know, that's another thing Tom says, like all the colors, and showing, like you said, different notes. Yeah, and heart, I always start with heart, but it should be head, heart, hips, summarizes that nicely for me. Yeah.
Love it.
Cool.
Any favorite classes from conservatory? That's such a hard question. Maybe I throw you under the bus there because then you got to say favorite.
Who's your favorite teacher and who was shit? I think
there's so many, but
but anytime I got to work with Tom, you know, you learn a lot watching, but I really unlocked new doors by doing, and then I would see those patterns by watching. So I'm so grateful for like every time I got to work one-on-one because it really did unlock new things, new experiences. Like you really don't realize what you don't know. You know what I mean? I think our Jared taught us that, you know, there's levels of knowledge, what you don't know.
Yeah. It's, what is it, like unconscious incompetence first. You just don't know that you don't know anything. And then it becomes conscious incompetence where you're like, oh shit, I don't know anything, but at least you know it. And then it becomes whatever the next level, conscious competence, I guess. Something like that. Still, I think the top level is unconscious competence, where it's just there and it's just in you and you can't do it wrong no matter what because you're so well trained. It's just in your body and your muscles. I may be botching that final thing up, but we know what we're talking about here. I love that. So many good stuff. Brandon, do you have any more from your notes?
Not currently, no.
Okay, I've got notes here. Deanna, are you able to stick around in studio for a little bit?
I wish. I gotta run, but I'm so grateful for this platform and everything you guys do, and also thanks for giving us space to say how much we appreciate Tom, and I hope he has the best birthday, full of all the guideposts.
Yes.
The good ones. All good, no judgments. Okay.
Great to see you. Yeah, we'll have you on again. And we should shout out to, let's shout out Bijou Collective because right after graduating, you and a handful of our other conservatory mates, Tessie, Aaron, and who else was
Joanna.
Oh, yeah, and Joanna. Yeah, and Joanna, you guys were in LA, and you were nominated or won? Nominated?
We could say I won. No. I was nominated for the Best Actor Award.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it's so weird to say, it's more imposter syndrome, but genuinely, it felt like an honor to be nominated.
Yeah,
like, I was just like, you know, it's weird because you're not supposed to do it for the recognition, but when you do get recognized, it hits in a certain way. And I don't know if you're just like reconciling, you know, I don't know. But it was really like, I guess, a sign from the universe to just like keep going. And I felt very touched. And really, I also felt like it was not just me. Like my performance was the way it was because of everyone's input. We really rehearsed a lot. So it's really not just about what I did to be recognized. It was about like all our ideas that came together and I just put it out there.
Well said. Yeah. Well, congrats on that. And you mentioned your breakthroughs working with Tom, and it was always fun watching other people reach new levels or unlock. And there were many, many times watching you where I would physically see the light bulb in your head go off, and you would just be like, oh, like the amount of epiphanies I would physically
Yes.
in your eyes was delightful. So
Yeah, I'm so grateful for them.
we're all still learning every day from Tom and his lessons. As I hear his voice and I hear his quote, I look at scripts and I'm like, what would Tom say? Tom, I speak to other actors and I'm like, well, if you want my opinion, I always weave it, instead of it being my opinion, I'm like, I think Tom would say this, and this. And then it's not even me saying it.
Yeah, he needs a bumper sticker collection.
Yeah, right.
So many quotes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having
Happy
me.
birthday, Tom, and we'll see you
Happy
soon.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. See ya. Thank you.
And now we're going to bring in another ensemble mate. We haven't talked to her in a long time. Let's bring Valeria in.
Woo.
Hi. Oh, wow.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you? Haven't
Oh my
seen you in
goodness.
forever.
Yeah, Lars. Goodness. I missed you so much.
Yeah.
And hi. I don't think we've met
You met?
before.
You
Is
guys
it
never met.
Brendan?
No, I don't think so. Hi, Valeria.
Hi. Hi. Is it Brendan? Did I hear it right?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to
Yeah.
meet
I've
you.
seen your work before because I was always around Lars while he was in conservatory, helping out at the studio that he runs. So I've seen your work before, and you're absolutely fantastic, Valeria.
Oh, that's so cute. I had a friend I have not met yet. There we
Well,
go.
now we have. Yeah.
How are you
Brandon
doing,
just
guys?
did a session the other day with Joao as well too.
Mhm.
So he's met lots of the conservatory people.
Mhm.
So tell us, Valeria, you were in the conservatory with me in Ensemble 10. That was an amazing experience. You also have a very unique perspective because of where you are in the world right now. Where are you right now?
I'm in Russia. I'm
Wow.
in St. Petersburg.
St. Petersburg.
Thank goodness I left my little town and I moved here, where is some industry at least.
Where were you
So
before?
that's been a step. I was in Stavropol. That's kind of a small town with almost no industry. So yeah. Yeah, hence online training.
Right.
There we go.
Mhm.
And with all the conflict and everything going on there, you're in a safe space. Families
Yeah.
been okay and things like that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's been yeah, thank you for asking. It's
of
been
course. Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is in the end of the day, but true, thank goodness we all are safe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, wishing a speedy resolution on all sides of that situation because it's never good. But let's share the good stuff from Todoroff. Do you have favorite quotable quotes? Do you have a story? First of all, I want to know, how the heck did you even stumble across Tom, being where you are in the world?
Oh my goodness. Yes, and yes. So I my whole life I was dreaming a dream. Right now, that's like a musical number. Like when it should come in. I was dreaming a dream. I wanted to study in the UK, but then I realized this is not like for 8 years. Like I did not speak English. I did not do any acting classes, but just at like 12 years, 12 when I was 12 years old. See, I didn't have much English practice, so that shows. But yes, I was 12 years old, and I started like imagining what if I would become an actor, and what if I would go to UK. But then that changed up to America. But this just like how it started, and I started learning English. I started taking classes. I started learning about just like literature and theater. I started reading Shakespeare, first in Russian, of course. My goodness, I tried. I remember first English, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, that developed better with time, of course. And so then when I started applying, I started hearing a lot of no from drama schools. And then I started even to question, like, if it's my place there, do I really want to go to a drama school as it is? Or like, it just didn't feel right. And I remember I was a part of a drama club that time, online drama club, where I met Sam Rubin. He's also You know Sam, yeah. Sam
Yeah, of
is
course.
also
Everybody's the
a
same.
graduate. Everybody knows Sam, yeah. Such a sweet guy. He's also a graduate of Tom's, and we worked on a few scenes before. I was like, "Yo, Valeria, like I have this amazing conservatory. Like you really got to check it out." Because I realized UK is not for me, and I started looking into American schools. And he's like, "Do you want me to just like get you in the class, just to observe and see if this is right for you?" And I'm like, yeah, okay, but like didn't expect much, but I was so super excited. I was like, I don't know what will happen, right? I've never been to the class. And then I went there, and it blew my mind completely. I was just like, oh my god, because everything, like I'm sure you guys had that as well. Like you just feel that Tom is speaking your language. You just like, wow, you use my vocabulary to express things in a coherent and clear and logical way without much subjectivity. And I'm like, oh my god, it's actually, and it started to sound more like a science as opposed to, like, oh, it's not science, it's arts. But it is actually kind of a science. And his approach is something that you can really approach as such, if that makes sense. So like as we were talking, right? Like there are guideposts that you can follow. There are specific, clear steps that you can take to make an amazing work of art out of nothing, or out of bad writing even, or good writing, of course. So that gave me clear instruments to really start doing something. And then I remember we had a call with Tom, and he's like, I want you in my conservatory. Like, you would fit in there good. I'm like, I think so too, Tom. And then I applied, and thus began one of the most amazing journeys in my life, where I met a lot of amazing people, including you, Lars, of course. And just having such great experiences, fun experiences, sometimes hard experiences, but all of those things taught me something that I don't know where else I would have learned those lessons. Yeah. What was the other question?
What's your favorite guidepost?
All right, humor, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, humor. We need so much humor in our lives, like now more than fucking ever. Humor. I think Russian humor has a tendency to it, like we're turning, because I generally do think that Russian people suffer a lot throughout the history. Like we have a phrase regarding literature. It's like Russian literature is always connected to sufferings. Either suffers the character, the writer, or the reader. I loved how Tom, when we were breaking down Seagull, and I was like, okay, that's just another Russian play about Russian people suffering through their lives and then dying, right?
A boring play. People complain about their lives. Yeah.
And then we started working, and like I read it before, and I was like, yeah, it's cool writing. Don't get me wrong, but it's going to be so hard, like to just do it. It's going to be emotion tasking, and then like it was completely the opposite. We found fun there. We found humor. We found excitement and like will to live. And I was like, wow, I actually I don't know, but Tom was the person who made me look on Russian plays differently. However bizarre that would sound, right? Like an American teacher would teach me how to actually perform Russian plays.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
Like, Russia has a deep history of Stanislavski and of course Chekhov and all his plays, and that is interesting that you would get someone halfway around the world to kind of give you the thing that would unlock it for you. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
You mentioned. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
you just asked like a favorite phrase. I like also a valuable lesson learned. And by the way, I wanted to confirm that yes, you were right about the 4 stages of learning that Jared said.
Is that it?
This is
Yeah.
yeah, indeed, you were right. You were spot on. So that actually because that is the thing that stick out to me, and something that surprisingly became a valuable like lesson as well to me whenever I would learn something. Just really confirmed kind of my way of looking at learning process, and it kind of takes away the stress from like, oh, I'm not good at this, or like, am I good at this? But then you realize that wait, there is first you don't know.
Yeah,
it seems easy.
Yeah.
Not at all. But yes, it also like gave me kind of a trackable scale to see how good I am at something, because once you pass that, it's like, oh my god, I don't know anything, stress. But they're like, oh wait, I kind of know something and I can do it, and then you feel more confident. But now like you can track it, you can track your journey whenever you're learning a new skill. So that was amazing. Janice, my god, yes, so much valuable. Oh, I love this woman.
Janice Orlandi was our movement teacher, and she worked a lot of at the Rasas and emotions, and so her class was usually listening to really emotional, different emotions, but emotional music, and then moving, and she would be speaking, "Oh, my darlings, you're in an endless field of love and emotion." Like, yeah, you'd leave her class. You'd leave her class literally feeling like that you have light beaming out of all of your bones. And like I would go for walks after her class and just be like, I'm this radiant person, and I'm just like beaming light around to people, and they're like a orb of light and love around me. She was amazing. Just one of the that is really one of the things. And thank you, Tom, for that. Is we all got Tom, but then in conservatory you get exposed and get to spend time with all of these other brilliant instructors at conservatory too. And Brandon, you'll get that opportunity at Summer Intensive. So yeah, I love that. That humor was your favorite guidepost. My first note ever at a class, probably within 5 minutes of being there, was funny as money, charming as disarming.
Yes.
So right away, and my background was stand-up and sketch comedy, and coming into it, I was worried that this was going to be a serious acting class, and that everyone was going to be proper and prim and proper and very Shakespearean. And then comes in and kind of looks like a rock star already. He's dressed jeans and a vest and a t-shirt and maybe a necklace and some bracelets, and he's this cool, fun dude. And his first thing he says, funny as money, charming as disarming. I'm like, this guy speaks my language. All right.
Yes.
We're going to be okay. I'll stay for the rest of the afternoon here.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I read humor as well. Is like I grew up in a serious conservatory program, and people didn't like the fact that I would fight for a joke or try to imply humor into a scene. But humor is everywhere. It helps us. It uplifts us, right? Like it's so important. And I felt very validated reading humor in the audition book. So yeah, it's a very important guidepost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, well, it's not about guideposts, but you guys sure also love this. Be impeccable with your word.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came up today yet or no, but this specific
4 agreements have not come up yet. But they're so important.
So for those that don't know this, the studio has their studio ethos, the work ethos of the studio. Real simple. There's a book called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Many of you might know. He also wrote the book Mastery of Love, and I think he's written several others. But do you want to run through the 4 agreements? Who's got them?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Be impeccable with your word.
Always
Don't take
do
things
your best.
personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best.
Always do your best. Yeah. Be impeccable with your word. Like showing up. That's what it was. You say you're going to be there. Show up. And then also, I love that one because it also means I'm a big believer in like our word and our thoughts comes to pass, and our words and our thoughts create our life. So that one to me also means don't say things that you don't mean, or don't say things that you don't want to become true, whether that's negative things about you or negative things about the world or the state of the world, complaining, all that stuff to me is like, avoid that, because you're just speaking that into existence by speaking that way. So if you don't want something, don't speak it. If you want something, speak it in positive terms and fight for it. Love it. That's a good one, Valeria. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share? Final thoughts?
Oof, many. I gotta be careful with my time here. So I would say as well, rehearse slowly to later perform swiftly is a huge one for me, because I tended to kind of just, I think my process of learning something was not as thorough as the conservatory made it. And I did not see, I think, the point before in like, but why? I get that, like, I remember the text. I remember the script. I kind of know what I'm doing, but I always felt stressed. I always felt, and like, I'm a huge like panicker a lot of the times, and I'm working on it. I am working on it very, very hard right now. But before, like, it was even worse. And I, like, every time, like, after the class, I'll be like, like, my back would be wet from sweat, and I'm like, oh my god, like, because it's like, oh my god, like, what if, right? But then after Tom said this thing with the yeah, what's the word for it? The clicker. It's like 200 times that you gotta say the text. And you genuinely think that it's enough. You genuinely think that, oh, I said it like a million times, but in fact it was like, what, 20?
Yeah.
Yeah. 12,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, but once you actually start track it and you start doing the text differently, like, that was a huge life hack for me. Doing the text in different ways, do not get into patterns, because I would get into patterns and I'm like, I don't know how to get out of them later. It was just like go instinctively there. So Tom said, do it with like weird voices and weird poses, and roll on the floor and yell and scream and then do it very, 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 very softly and like carefully, and then again, and I started doing all that. And I'm like, oh wow, I could actually feel the text being imported into my head without the sound of it being imported, like how I pronounce it, without any like gestures or mimics or the tone of my voice. It's just like just the pure letters, just information, and I remember it. And that was a huge, huge impact, I guess, which is again my learning process. And this is how, whenever we would talk with my actress friends, like, I would bring it up, because it's such a, like, it's an obvious idea, right? Like, now that we think about it, like, yeah, how other way would you do it? But when I hear them getting into patterns and having the same kind of issue, and like, I'm doing it every time, like the same thing, and I feel like there's no life there anymore, I'm like, well, of course. You're doing it wrong. Like, that's what Tom would say. That's what Tom would say. Same thing. I'm like, I have his voice in my head still. Like, it's been a year, and I was taking a break from acting because of my health. But I still, like, this is how much Tom is engraved. Like, his training and his personality, I think, is engraved in me, at least. That I still, even without like constant practice, as it's been for the last crazy year, I can still hear his voice.
Yeah, I see guideposts when I'm walking around. I'm like, oh, that's opposite. So that's gameplay, role play. Oh, that was good architecture, like, or when you go, even when you're watching TV or you go see another show and you recognize those things. Yeah. Amazing. Well, Absolutely. Thank you so much for popping on, Valeria. It's great to see you. Glad you're doing well. And kudos to you. I know that you had over the course of the year, I mean, you're across the world. And during the course of the year that you were enrolled, your country breaks out in war in that region too. So I know that you had a lot of challenges there, and there was financial troubles with borders being locked and banks being locked down and stuff. But kudos to you for always doing your best and just working forward to keep a positive attitude and to move forward with life in a time when it's challenging. So love you.
Oh, thank you, Lars. Love you too. Love you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I've got to go, but I'll hear you. I'll listen to you just without the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to finish up.
Bye.
Great seeing you.
See ya.
Nice to meet you, Brandon.
Nice to meet you, Valeria.
We'll see you.
Okay, bye.
All right. We got a couple more we want to share for some people that could not be with us in the studio. A couple other students. I'm going to hop into the WhatsApp group. And Monine Daly, who some of you may know as one of our audition session directors, she helps us out with those. And she's been on the podcast a couple times. She says, where is it? I can honestly say that Tom Todoroff is the reason why let me back up. She has a 2 p.m. session today where she's working with a voice actor in her business, Mo Vibes. And she says, I've got a 2 p.m. session, and I can honestly say that Tom Todoroff is the reason why. I've quoted him 3 times today already. So she shared a few quotes. Number 1 is first thought, best thought, which relates to just trusting your instinct and trusting source and the universe that something comes into you and it's just boom, that was it. Number 2, everything is everything. It's not comedy, it's not drama, everything is everything. And number 3, you cannot go over the top if you bring specificity with you, with the idea of like there's no such thing as being too big if it's specific to that situation, specific to you, specific to the text, specific to that scene. And then she says also the fact that she can be an audition session director with Actors Audition Club is a direct result of being a member of the Tom Todoroff Conservatory, their education and the ability to meet other beautiful collaborators. So thank you, Monine, and Tessie Herasti in New York City via Mexico. She's now in New York. Tessie, if any of you know and have been a part of the Saturday Workshop or Conservatory, everybody knows Tessie. She's amazing. And she says, funny is money, charming is disarming, specificity kills cliche. Classic. Love it. And we have another one here. I got a text from Erin Elizabeth Reed. And she just wanted to say, happy birthday, Tom. May the day return your gifts of inspiration, courage, playfulness, and love 33-fold. With deepest gratitude, Erin Elizabeth Reed. And for those of you, that's a little Easter egg, the 33-fold thing, because Tom says, why make one choice when you can make 3? Why make 3 choices when you can make 33? Why make 33 when you make 333? Why make 333 when you make 3,333? And so on. Back to the idea of paint with all the colors, play with all the notes on the piano. Happy birthday, Tom. And I think we're going to finish. We're going to play Tom's commencement address from last year's Ensemble 10. It's about a year. This is good timing because this is basically our year anniversary from graduating. Oh, I wanted to flash this too. Where is it? This is the most valuable piece of paper that I own and the one that I'm most proud of right here. This is my diploma from the Ensemble 10 Conservatory last year, the Tom Todoroff studio. Cost me a lot of money, some blood, some sweat, some tears. Not so many tears, not so much blood, but a lot of time and energy and love went into that. So I'm really proud of it. It's one of the most transformational experiences of my life. Brandon, you were around during the conservatory too. You were running the show here and seeing me back and forth to classes every day. So yeah, that was a huge commitment, but a game changer. And I got everything I could have possibly imagined out of that and more. I went in wanting to have that deeper framework. I wanted to rid myself of some potential imposter syndrome that I could foresee happening further in my career. The further I went, if I was stacking up against people who went to illustrious drama schools and TV and film schools, and I hadn't done a proper program I really felt that was going to hold me back. And then the second thing, and I remember the day on our first day orientation, they asked us, what do we want from this? And that was the first one, a foundational technique, an all-encompassing technique to smash the imposter syndrome inside me that I saw coming down the road. And then the second thing was to meet lifelong friends and collaborators, especially in New York, and now all over the world. And that has happened too. So thank you, Tom, Emily, conservatory teachers, instructors, ensemble mates. We're going to wrap up with the commencement address.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
This is
Enjoy.
Tom Todoroff.
And this is Emily Moulton Todoroff. Well, here we are. Hard to believe this day would come so swiftly, but here it is. We warned you it would come sooner than you think. We celebrate you today for choosing to live and lead the heart-centered life of passionate contribution.
It's not every day that life offers us social rituals like this one, a commencement ceremony to officially alert us to the passage of time and everything that implies. So on this commencement day, before you commence, we're reminding you of several guiding principles you've learned from your time in conservatory.
Love takes time. Love makes time. If you want to know what you truly love, look at where you put your time. The time you've taken for your personal and artistic growth is commendable and undebatable. You have created confidence, born of commitment. Love is born of labor. Chekhov said, the greater the labor, the greater the love, because then you feel it more strongly.
The most direct route to self-love and success is to make a series of commitments and keep them no matter what. The no matter what part can be challenging. When a commitment is made, shadow forces will align to test you and throw you off that commitment, but also angelic forces will align to assist you. That's the nature of commitment. These challenges are a vital part of the curriculum of this life. Never take these challenges personally. The events of these recent years are no exception.
In spite of everything, you kept your commitment. And in doing so, you taught us a new way to teach. We're forever changed by that and forever grateful to you. Yeah, where am I? Yeah, okay. A little overwhelmed there. Yeah. So, as I was saying, we celebrate and congratulate you today for your deep understanding of the principle of commitment and discipline and the depth of character you forged together through the action of keeping those commitments. By raising your level of consciousness, this training has increased your vitality, your curiosity. You've learned to communicate and to compete, to speak with muscularity and clarity, and to move with purpose and with power. You've developed a keen awareness of what you love and what you don't. You've learned to ask and fight for what you want and say no to what you don't want. Everything worth having is a fight. My dad taught me that. Keep fighting for what you want using your hips, your heart, and your head.
You've developed a personal, passionate, precise, political, provocative, and purposeful point of view. You know that your instincts are your talent. Never anesthetize them. You know that the deceivingly simple directive to breathe and to work moment to moment are actually quite profound, because once you've learned to be present for a single moment, you have the power and the personal responsibility to be present fully in your life.
Acting is a contact sport, first with yourself and then with the world. Going forward, transform perceived defeats into victories. In this life of duality, look for opposites. They are the essence of this life and comedy, especially comedy. Quote, humor heightens our sense of survival and preserves our sanity. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without those qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. Charlie Chaplin said that in 1940, end quote.
Humor and humanity. Ensemble 10, you have these qualities in abundance. Make sure they are always present in your work and in your life. Eternity. Our only access to eternity is one single moment. A minute, an hour, a week, a month, a year, a decade, a millennium are only witnessed in hindsight. To play a moment, you must be present. Why then is it so challenging to do that? How do you do it? Quiet your mind. Keep the focus off yourself and regularly off your personal electronics, which, by the way, have connected us to everyone, but it's only your heart that can keep you connected to yourself.
Nature will gently answer your other questions. Nature is God, whatever you perceive that to be. Shakespeare refers to this frequently. Another Chekhov observation: life on earth is inconceivable without trees. Nature encourages you to breathe as it does. You are connected to trees, to the earth. You're not your emotions. Your emotions are the weather and every storm passes. And above the clouds, the sun is always shining. Your breath is the wind that clears away the clouds of despair. Aspire to see what eagles see and to hear and smell what dogs hear and smell. No one is here today because you did it all alone. Someone taught us all to walk, talk, read, write, make our bed, and tie our sneakers.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. The people who surround you now, the souls you've spent the past months with, have challenged you and inspired you, and they've given you strength and taught you patience. Close your eyes and hold all of these faces in your mind and in your heart. Do this now. Do this forever. You are a great ensemble, Ensemble 10.
Our conservatory creates consciousness, confrontation, confidence, contacts, and most importantly, contribution. Con, meaning with. Go forth now and create together. It's why you were born. It's why we all were born. The work never ends. Dream, plan, reality.
You now all have the tools to manifest your dreams. Thank you for being ours.
Make your life a work of art. Make your life a work of your own heart. We love you.
We love you.
God, it gets me every time.
Mhm.
Curse you, Tom. What I mean by curse you is I mean thank you, Tom. That was beautiful. Every time I watch that, it makes my body leak for some reason. That these
I don't know how that happens.
orifices. It's weird.
Must be a leak over here somewhere.
Yeah, some wizard. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. For those of you who are new to Tom and the Todoroff Conservatory, we highly suggest you check out one of the classes. You can go to laughingvikings.com/Tom. I guarantee that it will transform the way you look at acting, the way you look at auditions, the way you look at yourself, the way you look at the world, and you'll have a great time. And you might meet lifelong friends around the globe, like we have. So it's beautiful. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on the platform that you're listening to, and share this out. And one more time, thank you so much, Tom, Emily, all the conservatory instructors, staff, and all of our ensemble mates. Thank you for everything you do, and happy birthday!
Happy birthday,
Tom!
Yeah.
All right, we love you. Thanks for watching, everybody. And again, happy birthday, and thank you for everything, Tom. We love you, and we are forever grateful for your mentorship and coaching.
Yes. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. It's called